Boz here from Modern Wall Street.
Mark here from Trading Market Technicals.
And this is
Talking
Technicals. Ba, ba, ba,
I
ba.
love it. I really
Ba,
do.
ba, da, da, da. Do you love that music?
Do, do, do.
That was when we were in AC, man.
Yeah, was that funny? That was great.
let's
What a
plan
great
another
time.
trip.
We have to.
right,
we
let's-
actually got to do a show down there in Atlantic City.
We do. So can
Absolutely.
we make some money so, you know,
Yeah,
we can gamble a little bit,
Right,
get a
that-
nice steak dinner?
I like that idea.
Mark, nice to have you here again.
Nice
do
to be back,
Talking
guys.
Technicals.
Thanks again for the request right off the bat. I love them already.
So right off the bat, let's take another look at
Yep.
the S&P to see how it's holding up since we last met.
Actually, we did have a nice little move to the downside, right? Since I met the last time.
You bet your bottom we
We
did.
actually established a nice big bearish rising wedge, right? You see that here on the
Yes,
charts, and
it
the
has
bearish.
been confirmed.
Yes, it has been confirmed because we did go sideways out of the wedge, and we just broke down from the wedge from the last 4 or 5 days selling.
And again, we are retesting that really tough nut to crack.
Yes, and that's the 200-day moving average, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we pivoted 3 days ago. So we're on a third day rally that we had. I just checked before we went on air, and we were
Yes.
up about 10 handles.
Yep.
So we're up nicely. It's not a bad day today. We had 3 nice days. So where do we go from here, right? That's going to be like the big, are we still in this corrective rally? Is this a new uptrend? Well, I still deem it as corrective. Not that you can't make money to the long side, and I'm not saying that you want to go out and just short the market. No.
Sure.
You know, we do have a corrective rally, making higher highs and higher lows. So I like that, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to buy if you're trading intraday. And if you are still long, then it's fine. I would just say tighten up your stops. You know, we are at a 10-year business cycle. We are really in a mature
It's
rally.
his birthday. It's the birthday this March.
It's the birthday, that's right.
Happy birthday.
That's right. So, you know, I just, there's always caution here to be warranted. Can we go higher?
Well,
yeah, we
okay.
can.
Well, that's
Why can't we go higher, right?
Hold on.
Yep.
Now the measured move right here, guys, you might be wondering, what is this? This is the mouth of the wedge if we do fail this.
Correct.
What we keep trying and failing. If we do really fail and break through that 200
Right.
and break through the 50 and target, look at that. We took the mouth of the wedge.
Coincides nicely.
It does. Can you show right here, Mark, how
Yep.
we take the mouth of the wedge
Right here.
that we have established
Down to
and
here.
that's going to be your measured move from
And
the
that's
top.
your measured move from the breakdown
breakdown.
off of the pattern.
Which,
It
look
measures
at that.
right to the 38%
Right to the
Fibonacci
38%
retracement, which is nice.
Fibonacci.
You know, I like the symmetry when you can align different things from Fibonacci retracements like we did back here.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that. I like to see everything in line with Fibonacci and price. So that's
Of
really
course.
a good
Thanks,
spot.
Leonardo.
Thank Leonardo.
Not a problem.
We love you.
So
Good guy.
we did manage to pull price. So right here is going to be our objective target. Does it mean it has to get there? Does it mean can it go below that? Of course it can. But just to look for anticipation, if we do start to roll over again, that's something that we want to consider to be looking at.
And if we break above it and we do rise up there to the
Rise
heavens.
above the right.
Rise above. We could see. Well, we are going to see a short cover because there's a lot of buy stops there.
Yeah, that's a great
A lot of
point.
people shorted there, obviously.
Absolutely. You can see how we tried to break out here back in October,
Mm-hmm.
November, and of course December, and we failed miserably, right? So shorts were leaning on this area. You can see here on your volume profiles as well that there
those.
is a lot of resistance, right? So if we do break out above this on a closing basis, and I like to give it like a 2-day close, just to give you that extra confirmation, because there are a lot of times we break out and fail, like we did back here November, December, October, November, and December. So if we do break out to the upside, then I do think that there is an additional move higher, okay, that we can overshoot where price can actually even possibly challenge the highs. That does not mean that I think that we're going higher and we started a whole new leg without fully resetting itself and really trying to sell off into a 20, 30% pullback. And I know it's scary, but the market has to reset itself, has to digest its current move. And again, here, as you can see, the volume is extremely
It's
low.
extremely light.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not looking for longs. I'm not looking to short into this corrective rally. That's still the wrong thing to do. You still want to be looking for longs as the market's going higher.
Man,
making
I
higher
wish
highs,
I
higher
can
lows.
lose weight like the S&P loses
Yeah,
volume
right,
since
exactly.
January. It followed that resolution.
Exactly.
Hey, can we get, MACD and RSI are on sell signals, but can we please get on to the request?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why the peeps
sure.
are watching.
Sure. Sure, okay. All right.
Love
here we
this
go.
from Vinny the Bull.
Vinny the Bull.
Hey,
is
Vinny.
that a great
thanks-
handle?
Oh,
Is that just a great, I love it.
He's really cool.
Thanks for your request, Vinny.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Hey, yo, Vinny.
Hey,
All right,
yo,
so
Vinny.
we're gonna take a look at John Deere.
Okay,
We're
John
gonna
Deere.
switch-
Really kind of a sloppy chart a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't mean it's not tradable. We had a nice little move higher back in 2018.
Oh, nice
where,
move higher that
where-
tried to break out.
Exactly, where the general market did as well and then failed. And you could see we tried to break out 3 times again, very similar to the other chart.
Yes.
And we failed kind of miserably, right? And we've been in this large range, about 32 points, 37
Huge.
points, right? All the way up until now, currently where we are. We did bottom back in November. And that actually started making higher highs and higher lows. So from the sideways consolidation we had, it actually started to, and we did have a gap lower, but we did bottom here in November, and we started making higher highs and higher lows. So I pull a fib from our low to our current high to see where we are. And amazingly enough, we have very similar pattern
same
from
thing. We are-
back in 2018.
Yes.
We
and
tried to break out 3 times.
People say triple top. There's no such thing as a triple top.
Yeah,
It's a right.
Yeah, in technical analysis, they'll say, and I even say it too, but technically speaking, there is no triple
Technically.
top. I mean, that's what I was taught, but nonetheless,
Teach
people
us.
call it all the time.
Okay,
They
so
say it all
anyway,
the time.
so we tried again.
Yes. So
Now-
we tried several times. We've gone sideways, actually, right, at the upper end of the range, which
Yeah.
is generally bullish. So going sideways and generally bullish, and if you looked at the MACD and RSI down below, what happens to that overbought reading, right? It offsets and resets itself. So it unwinds that overbought reading to gain more momentum. So John Deere technically is a bullish chart.
Okay, now we pulled. So let's look at the target.
Yeah, let's look at the target.
All right, so we pulled the Fibonacci.
Right.
Now let's check out the 38.2%.
38.2%.
That's going to be the target.
Yeah, that's going to be your first pullback area that if you are looking to buy John Deere, I would be looking at a 38% or even the 50, and you can see the 50% fib, which
Look at that,
coincides
with the 200.
coincides nicely with the 200. Absolutely.
Sure does.
And I like to see that confluence area of support and or resistance if I'm shorting. But right now, since we're looking to buy, because John Deere looks pretty good, there is one caveat. You got to be careful with the China talks. If we get into some sort of negative talks, John Deere, Caterpillar, all of those architectural.
You'll be falling off the tractor.
Yeah, well, they're going to be falling off.
I just picture it like going to the side.
You know, you
with
manage
no
it.
one on
you
it, off the
manage-
cliff.
He's so funny.
Well,
You manage it accordingly with your stops, and you take the emotion out of
Great,
the game.
great
So
chart.
38%, 50%, I like those 2 areas here. If we break below the 50%, it's time to get out. That's
Time
really
to
what it
get
comes
out.
down to. Okay?
thanks, Vinny, for the chart. Really
Vinny,
fun one.
thank you
This
very
is
much.
really
That was
fun.
a great chart.
Now, we've been getting not just requests on Twitter, but Instagram.
Really?
I threw it out
Awesome.
to Instagram, so
That's
make sure
great.
you follow Modern Wall Street and Olivia Boz.
Absolutely.
Shameless plug. But it's true.
You did it.
I had
You did
5
plug it.
people.
You did plug it in.
I
That's
did.
great.
Shameless. So this was from P. Shaw.
All right, P. Shaw,
wants
thank
to
you.
take a look at Estee Lauder.
Thank you for Estee Lauder. And now this is an interesting chart, to say the least.
Yeah.
A lot of gaps.
Let's see if we're putting lipstick on the pig.
Putting lipstick on the pig, right? Actually, right now, right? It's back like 4 or 5 months ago, it may have been a pig, but now it's kind of changed direction.
Sure.
There are
Trend change.
2 big gaps that need to pay attention to. You need to pay
Yes.
attention. And what happens to gaps? 99.8%.
Gaps get filled.
Gaps get
and
filled
the gaps
at one
even filled
point.
the gaps at
And
this,
the gaps
at
even
this
fill the
point.
gap.
That's a rare
That's
occasion,
right.
but anyway, it
That's
has
right.
happened.
So we look at the double top, right? We have a double top here, right back in January, no March, April, and then we have one just currently back in February.
They're wide
right?
apart, but they are there.
Yeah, they're there, and they tried to break out. So this is a meaningful area of resistance. This is something that you want to pay attention to. Why? Well, if we do break out higher on volume on a closing basis, that's going to be something you say, well, this is a good area. It failed. It tried to break out the area and failed again. What does that tell you? To me, right, if you just look at trader's mindset, well, if I'm short and I failed, I'm going to look to probably put my buy stop right above there. So to me personally, is it going to be a big short squeeze? I'm not sure, but it should break out. And if this does break out, guess what? I think this thing goes higher.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right, that's awesome.
And let's say if it doesn't break out, let's look at the other scenario.
Let's take a look.
Right.
All right, so we have gap support.
Yep. Well,
which is-
our first gap.
Yep.
Right up in here.
Yep, 147.22.
Yep. And then down below.
137.
Yep.
We have a confluence area, which we love.
We love.
We love.
We're getting at that golden cross, right? That 50 versus the 200, so to speak.
The golden cross.
I don't read much into it, but it is a golden cross that actually just crossed. So again, that is a bullish sign. It's not something that I would react on as far as trading the stock. I just like to look at the patterns, look at where we are in the chart, and then go from there.
Now the thing is, though, if you do want to take a risk, and we do lose that, we plummet through the 200, we plummet through the gap of support, all those volume profiles to the side, then we reach this other gap, and that's pretty low.
That's something that all the longs and all the bulls want to pay attention to.
Exactly, because Mark, can you point out? Look at this thin zone.
Look at the thin zone,
Stranger
starting way
danger.
up in here, all the way down to this area here. So you have to be careful. There is definitely a word of caution. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Just saying that if you're long, and we do get a negative catalyst in this stock, or just generally the market in itself, and we get a big slowdown, obviously the first thing to get hit is usually retail.
And the MACD and RSI showing that we are slowing down momentum.
Yeah, slowing momentum.
Well, we're in this consolidation.
Right, there you go. And the consolidation always unwinds that overbought reading, right, that we are right now currently in the stock, which is great because that's going to do what? It's going to add more fuel for that breakout if it were to come. But right now, bullish chart, I like it. I like to see this thing, see if it breaks out. Remember, it's known to fail, though, a couple times. So that's why give it 2 days. Give it a 2-day close. The second day it closes, the third day, if it takes out that 2-day consolidation high, let's go buy some stock.
And let's move on to our next request.
Beautiful.
Yes, we have WarriorSF. This was another Instagram request. Thank you.
Another one?
Yes, another.
Really?
Yeah, we went to Instagram. WarriorSF said, let's talk drugs and take a look. Quote, let's talk drugs.
We're going Snoop Dogg
What's
again?
the dilly?
Snoop Dogg again. Well, we're going. This is the classier kind of drugs. This is like the high flyer drugs.
That was
this is like
funny.
the street doctor.
That's the street doctor.
CVS.
Okay.
Now, WarriorSF wanted to know, is this thing about to break out? Let's do it.
Okay. So again, back in 2018, we just like the market, and then we started to sell off, right? And we went into this consolidation, right? Higher lows, lower highs, higher lows, lower highs, creating that symmetrical triangle that we see right here for several months.
Yes, and it broke down on volume.
It broke down on volume here with the arrow, as you can see here. But what happened was that breakdown was short-lived. So this is where this is really important. If I'm looking at this pattern and I see a lot of volume come in on a breakdown, but did not break the low, the current low of the symmetrical triangle, that's interesting because what does that tell you? They're buyers that are stepping in, absorbing that selling pressure. That's important to understand. And it's not like you see that every day and you're like, oh my God, this is a good buyer. It's hard to recognize. You know, it's hard to say, okay, you know what? Wait a minute. It's easy to understand. But to actually physically do, right, you have to take a look at it and say, well, wait a minute, why didn't this thing sell off? We had heavy volume. Well, the buyer stepped in. Now, it didn't see that. You didn't see that. Remember, a lot of dark pools going on here. A lot of high-frequency trading. Dark pools are putting their orders off to the side where we don't see it. So they were buying it. And why they were buying it? Because they tried to break out, failed again, and tested that area, right?
Yeah, check that.
And then look what happened here down below. The next area we had a volume breakout of that symmetrical trial that confirmed it.
Cool.
So, is that awesome?
It's really awesome. That is some cool. Ooh.
Yeah, and we actually broke out to the upside yet again. Got close to the 2018 high, but then we failed again.
All right, now my turn.
Yep.
Now
I
we
get
have.
crazy.
Now we have a. I know you're nuts.
Sorry.
Now we have. I love you.
I love you
Don't
too.
be nuts. I mean, don't worry about it. Now we've been selling off on some high volume, Mark.
Yes.
Now volume has really picked up here.
Yeah.
So I think that's where traders are looking like, is this a buy point and where are my targets? So let's look at where that could possibly end up. We retrace up to the 38.2% Fibonacci.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Then we have the 200-day moving average right there.
Right above it.
The 61.8%. I mean, look how this thing measures. It's insane.
But you see when you pull in Fibonacci, you see how it adheres to where the price has been trading.
Yes, adheres.
That's important. It's really important when you are pulling a Fibonacci because some people say, I get a lot of emails like, oh, where do I pull it? How do I pull it? So you just make little adjustments. Yeah. And when you see that you have a nice cluster here that's fitting right in between the 38 and the 50% Fibonacci, you know that from the low to the high, that's going to be a real good area. It's a solid area.
Manipulate it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right?
Exactly.
It's in your hands.
It's exactly.
MACD and RSI are at washout levels.
Exactly.
Which is not necessarily a bad
No,
thing.
not a bad thing. Now, this would be a counter trend, right? Because it is in a downtrend, right? So it's something that it's riskier. Doesn't mean that you can't manage it. Why? Because your stops would be at the low, below the low.
Cool.
So wherever you're looking to buy it, it would be a corrective trade, meaning that the markets would rally, CVS would rally. That is a corrective rally. So you're looking to just take a quick 50 cents, a dollar, whatever, based on your risk tolerance. And then from there, I would just exit the trade at the moment. To alleviate the downside pressure, we need
Risk tolerance,
to see
drug tolerance.
drug tolerance.
Maybe you need to take a Xanax after
Take a
that.
Xanax.
I don't know. Don't start tweeting like Roseanne Barr or anything. Just stick to the charts.
Right, exactly. Just stick to the charts. To alleviate the downside, we need to see a trade above the 200-day moving average, which is way away at the
All
moment.
right, so Warrior, watch that 200-day.
Watch the 200.
And we are out of time.
Oh, already?
We are.
Oh my gosh, I
It's
love
done.
it. This is fantastic.
It is fantastic. Guys,
Why do I
make
have so
sure-
much fun here?
Because it's awesome. You know why? Because
I
no
love
one else
talking
is doing
technicals.
this.
I
So do
love
I.
it. Yeah, I love it. And
Well,
I love the request.
Which is why we named the show
Talking
Technicals.
Technicals.
Guys, make sure you get your requests in, and we
Absolutely.
will see you in
2 weeks.